What up brothers, it's Clipper King returning. Welcome back to my channel for the first review I've done in about 4 or 5 months. I'd like to say a massive thanks to you all for supporting me while I've not been putting videos out. You pretty much all keep in touch with me through Facebook, and I do always get messages through YouTube also. To me haters and to me rivals, I'd like to say strap in guys, because the meanest fucking gunslinger in West is back in town, so you better step up your games. You've had a stay of execution, but I'm back. Also to kids, I'd like to say don't be alarmed and don't be afraid. It's not a Marvel figure or an Avengers figure, a Batman figure, or even an Hot Toys figure. It's the Storm Collectables Iron Mike Tyson. It's the youngest heavyweight champion version, and it is the special edition. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to Budget Stark, Anthony Sang, for getting me the pre-order on this figure last year. He stayed in the queue, got me the pre-order, and sold it me for a really good price. So a massive thank you to him. Without him, I don't think I'd have ever got the special edition. As you can see, the figure is a total and utter beast. I think it will interest the mass production fans, and also I think a lot of the custom guys would like to see this figure because it is a little bit out of the blue, and Storm have done a really good job. I also know Storm will be watching this review because I had communication with them early in the week, so I hope they like the review as well. But I will say, I won't sugarcoat anything. Any issues with the figure, you guys will know, because I'd sooner piss off one set of people than everybody else who's going to be buying it. So bear that in mind. Although I've got to say, I've wrote the scores out and it does score really well on most categories anyway. Also, you guys know I no longer do the source material, or I no longer score the source material. But on this figure I would like to have me say, simply because I've had some arguments in the past with people in the Facebook community about how highly or lowly I rank Mike Tyson as an heavyweight boxer. I've always been a fan of heavyweight boxing and can go back to dawn of time to all the heavyweight champions. Now, I never ranked Tyson so highly. I think he was at his most destructive from 85 obviously through to about 1990 when he lost to Buster Douglas. And from 85 to 96, I think he had about 28 fights and was pretty much one of the most protected heavyweights of all time. Handpicked opponents for him just to knock over, which he did. And then he went on to clear up the division. At that time, I think division were very, very bad, but that's just my thought. I will also say, to his credit, he's probably one of the most exciting heavyweight champions of all time, but not always for the right reason. So I've always sort of looked in with a little bit of discontent, and were one of the guys who were rooting for Lennox Lewis to kick his ass. I also think that his performances in his bigger fights, so I'm thinking against Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, and obviously the Buster Douglas he lost, the later fights in his career when he totally lost it, I think they also diminish his record. So it's hard to make a case for him being one of the top heavyweights of all time. He's nowhere near Muhammad Ali in character or in performance or skills, but he is definitely a captivating character and a figure in we're always going to be worthwhile. And also, people always talk about your favourite Mike Tyson era. Mine, from a man point of view, has been since he retired up to now, because I think only now he takes responsibility for his actions and he's consciously trying to become a normal citizen. He was famed for being an animal in the ring, and I think that was to his advantage. But he also, because he was surrounded with so much money and the people that surrounded him, I just think it was easy for him to get away with things when he were heavyweight champion. So when I think back at his recent work, so the film roles he does, the interviews I watch, the stand-up show he did, The Undisputed Truth, I thought were amazing because he was so candid and honest, and I got a lot of respect for him, to the point where now I would have never thought twice about buying a ticket to see him at like one of them dinner and speaker nights. Now I would love to, just because I do respect him more now for the fact that he knows what he does wrong and he always tries to correct it. So respect to Mike Tyson for that. Like I say, not my favourite heavyweight from a fighter's standpoint, but as a human, I do think he tries. As far as this figure goes, I'd like to say I saw one of the early sculpts before it had even been painted of this figure, and the sculpt, I could see the age, the sort of moment in time that they were capturing. I thought that's going to make a really good figure, and I followed the progress through Storm Collectables' Facebook page, and as soon as it were announced, I were half gutted but half buzzing. Buzzing because I thought I definitely want that figure, it's one I would buy and definitely keep, but also a bit gutted because when they announced it were only going to be 1 or 300, I thought chances are I'm not going to get this figure, which will totally piss me off. There's also a bit of happiness and sadness when I look at this figure. The happiness comes from the figure being so good and I can display it with pride. The sadness is I now know the technology is out there to make the Cassius Clay or Muhammad Ali that I would want, and I still can't see for license reasons anybody doing it. I hope and pray it does happen, because that would be the be all and end all of my collection. It's the only person I respect with the utmost respect, and I would love to have him displayed side by side with this Tyson figure, or a Joe Frazier or George Foreman, or anybody else they want to release with Muhammad Ali. So that's my thoughts and my intro. Let's stop bullshitting and get into some scores. We'll start off with the packaging. Right, as you can see, here's a really nice presentational box. I actually love the artwork on the front, although I will say a funny comment I saw over there, I think on Facebook, saying it looks like they've captured a picture of him coming down a log flume. And I do see that as well, simply with a mist in behind the figure and his arms in air. But I do really like it. It's accurate to one of the shots where he won the world titles, sort of one glove off, one glove on, and I do really like it. Also, as you see on my version, the Mike Tyson lettering is in gold, along with the signature. On the standard version, that will be in red, so you will know what version you're getting if you do see a picture of the front cover. As I said earlier, it's the youngest heavyweight champion, 1/6 collectible figure, and it's by Storm Collectables. And I will say this is my first foray into the Storm Collectables world, and having this figure in hand for nearly a week, I am more than impressed by it. And to show the artwork on the reverse, you see it's Tyson with a towel over his head and his hands clasped. Really nice. It's kind of like a oil painting effect, and they've done really good work. Obviously the credits and the sponsors there are the licensors, and obviously the choke hazard and the warnings does mess the back of the box up a little bit, but I do like the artwork in general. Then again, it has the titles, this time in the red lettering. On the quality of the card, it's that thick, it's very nearly plyboard. Really good presentational box. It would take some damage in, I would think. Inside you get 3 foam layers, so nothing's housed in the plastic clams like Hot Toys, and I think that is also top quality. When you open it, you know that you have got a really collectible figure. It's not just, like I said, just above a Toys R Us style figure. So for that reason, I'm going to score the box and the artwork and the total packaging a 5 out of 5. Rolling on to the likeness, and it won't be surprised to tell you this is pretty much a no-brainer. You know the score before I even start this category. Both sculpts are amazing. This one is the more relaxed, the calmer look, but because of the paintwork and particularly in the eyes, it still has intent. So you could use it for boxing poses, or you could do it in a boxing stance, or anywhere you choose to, really. It's a very universal sculpt. Does look awesome. The paintwork that Storm have done is stunning. Definitely Hot Toys standard. I don't like to advertise Hot Toys when I'm talking about a figure from another company, but Hot Toys is the yardstick that everybody's measured with. Enterbay are up there with them, and now I see that Storm Toys are also. I keep saying Storm Toys, I know it's Storm Collectibles, so sorry to them. You see the marks on the skin, paintwork, the difference between the skin and the lip. So the clean painted eyes, the eyebrows which are sort of curled up on the corners, which is very accurate. And his ear, you see his fade going up to his short afro on top, and then as you come around the front you see the hard part on the left hand side. That is the shaved in parting, for those who don't know. Sort of looking down his arm, he's throwing off a left jab, got his head dipped forward slightly. And then as we come around to the other side, you see down his arm. And again, every angle looks really accurate. So I think what we'll do, we'll swap it out the pose, and we'll look at the other head sculpt also before I give you the score. And then as he comes over with a right cross, you see I've changed up the sculpt, so now he's got gum shield showing. He's coming around, he's looking off, up and right. So again, perfectly ideal for a fight style pose or training pose. Obviously some of the accessories it brings, it does have the training gear, and again just going through the full pose. The legs have spread, swivel through the hip, so he's coming round, like I say, from a right long hook or straight right cross. So his opponent would move out to this side, and that is what he'd be trying to look for. So that just explains the pose. Again, the head sculpt, everything I liked about the calm head is in this. The intent in the eyes, the mouth slightly open with a black gum shield showing. Again, the good sculpt work through the hair. The wrinkles on the forehead because he's got the slightly more angry face. It just really works, and it makes it look awesome however you display it. My only regret with this figure, I suppose, is I didn't order two. I wish I'd have picked up this version and a standard version just so I could have had one set up in like sort of a fight pose and another one in a more action. That is definitely an idea for the future because this figure is a total beauty. To score the head sculpts, I'm going to stop chatting shit and I'm going to tell you that both sculpts get a very, very easy 5 out of 5. Moving on to the outfit, and this one might surprise you a little bit. Simply because you think, well, he don't come wearing a lot, so surely it's not going to get a good score. But I'll explain that in a minute. Firstly, as you see, I've changed up the pose, so now he's stepping forward again, still off the left foot lead, getting the power from the right leg. Slight rotation, but he's not rotating from right to left, he's rotating upwards for the right uppercut. Again, so as if he's punched straight through his target. And that's the pose I've gone for there. So firstly, let's talk about what the figure's wearing. Everybody's version will bring the signature black trunks. Really, really well done. The satin material with the USA badge on the left leg. The Go America triangle on the right leg. And most importantly, the Everlast on the waistband. It is licensed, even down to it says made in the USA. It does have the sort of stitched in stripe, the black on black stripe down the leg with a split. So again, very accurate. Waistband done really well. And the shorts are perfect length and perfect fit. Now on my version, it brings the real leather style gloves, which in themselves are just a work of art. Really well done. Again, the Everlast patch. You can see the grain of the leather, so to speak. I'm guessing it's pleather, but it does feel really, really good quality. Now, the reason I said these are a work of art is because when they come out the box, they are just a flat, it's like a peg sticking into a glove, or so you would think, but that's not the case. Inside the hand section is a flat metal armature, which also leads into the thumb part, so you can get a good bend on the glove, as if he's balling up his fist, like so. And then like so, you see with that. Now we're thinking, well, it's not going to sit right because there's no way that you're going to be able to make a fist in a padded glove. That's not the case. Storm have done a really good job with the gloves and I do really, really like them. Moving down as well, the special edition also brought a real leather style boot, which again I really do like because it is the signature look of Mike Tyson through most of his career, certainly from when he won the championship against Trevor Berbick. This is the outfit he was wearing. Again, real laces, feels really good quality. It does have a rubberized sole, so it does hold its shape really well. And I just think it just looks so nice and so accurate, as you see. Another thing I will mention on the glove is both do lace up, and as you see mine, I've actually wrapped the lace around the back of the hand, sort of pull the cuff section in, and then tie it. It does take some doing, but it's definitely worth it. Right, moving down, I'll show you these first, and then I will do a pose with some of this stuff on him. It does have the grey jogger suit, so the Rocky style jogging suit, zip up front, and the drawstring hood, which is nice. Obviously, when you've got the fittings right, I would cut the drawstring down, which I am going to do if I ever pose it in this. Same on the jogger bottoms. The drawstrings were taking up a little bit. So that is a nice touch, and I'm glad they included it. The stock versions of the figure, or the standard version, only come with the sculpted gloves, which again are pretty nice, but you lose the realism a little bit. But I would still display a second version in them gloves because I do think they are strong enough, but like I said, I just prefer the real ones. Same with the boot. Now with the boot, I think the sculpt is more accurate, so with the boots, I think you could use either. But I think if they give you the real boots, I think you should really use them. But that's just my point. And again, the boots just pop on with a bow joint in the ankle. Then this version also brings the leather Everlast groin protector, which is a nice touch, and the Everlast sparring head guard. Again, really nice touch. Everything they've done, or it feels to me like they've took that extra step. They've not chucked no cheap shit in there. They've really thought out the gloves. The trunks are accurate, and I'm thinking I can't get a good score on the outfit because there's not a lot to it, but when you count up the pieces that it does have all together, that's still got to be something equivalent to most Hot Toys figures, and some of the figures that I would have given a 5 out of 5. So I'm going to stay fair and say because of the work so good, the materials used are so good, and how it displays on him is so good, I am still going to give the outfit a 5 out of 5. And just to follow on with the outfit, just to show how the groin protector looks, and then up onto the head guard. We've got him in sparring mode. It still looks really good, and the likeness is still there even with the head guard on. So yeah, like I said, does look beautiful however you do it. I probably have the tracky top on late in the review, so look out for that. Like I said, I just wanted to back up my thoughts and tell you the outfit were a 5 out of 5. Right, rolling on to the articulation, or the body in general. I am going to cover the aesthetics of the body, how the body moves, my likes, my dislikes, and tell you what I would liken it to. Now, I've seen some rubberized bodies, and I would think the best is still probably the Leonidas by Hot Toys, and then probably the arms on Thor are pretty good. Gamora's not bad, but the skin were not really good. There's probably been a couple others. The arms on the Hulk, I think, work really well. I've also seen some bad ones, so I'm thinking the old Rambo figures, the old Rocky figures, really, really bulky rubber, just fighting against you constantly. Now, this is a total different league to everybody, probably apart from Leonidas. So let's talk about how it looks. As you can see, I think the size and scale proportions are pretty good. I think the pecs could be a little bit fuller. That would be my only nitpick on the look of it, but I think the abs are correct, not overly muscle, but you can still see the six-pack, the obliques at the side. I think his arms do look like a boxer's arms and not a bodybuilder's type arm or a superhero type arm, which I like. The tattoo work on, he's got Mike on his upper shoulder, just try and show you, Mike, and then he's got the symbol on the right forearm. So again, I do like the tattoo work. It's not overbearing, and it is pretty accurate. The sort of crease work in the neck, again, is really, really accurate looking. Very nice. The nipples, I think the shade from the standard skin into the nipples is good. And even the belly button is really, really authentic looking. I'll show you the back while he's in this stance. I will say I'm going pretty much hands-free with this. Again, the definition on the muscle groups on the back is really good, and the paintwork on it is outstanding. It does have the African American skin texture, but then it does have light and shade as well in the creases and crevices of his muscle groups, as you see here, sort of into the tricep area, and then on the back, the lower back section. See, it looks really, really nice. Very good, I think, atomically. Is it atomic? Not atomically. Anatomically correct. I think that's a proper word. I might have just fucking made that word up. Right, moving down to the legs. So, sorry if the lighting's not very good, but it's how I'm filming it. The muscle group on the quadriceps and down through the shin, and then coming around to the back. The calf work is really good and really accurate. Whenever I'm about to review a figure, you'll know I'm doing some background work. On something like a Tyson, I've already seen it a million times before, but I still don't ever want to do a review and not know what I'm talking about. So you can guarantee a lot of that goes into it. So on the look of the body, it's pretty much perfect. Like I said, the pecs possibly could have been a little bit fuller, because I'm thinking back to an 86, he was bulky. Not bulky, but squat, stocky. He did get bigger and more muscle sort of after prison, so I'm talking like 95 onwards. I think I'd be right in saying that if I study the pictures correctly. But on this night, it's not far off. So, like I said, look alone, really good. So, how does it move? Fuck, I've just twatted my door and it's made a very loud noise. how does it move? We'll start off with the head. I don't know, I'm going to film this because this camera's a little bit low. Right, so the head is pretty much just on a ball joint, so it will move anywhere. Does swap on and off really nicely. The warning there would be handle with care, because you don't want to use the head sculpt to get paint rub on the neck. So try and move the head away from the neck while you're moving it, and then when it's in a position, tuck the chin in so the eyes would look in the direction you would want. So really nice there, no limitations. The shoulder sections do move pretty freely. Again, be careful, because you don't want to get paint rub with the arms against the shoulder. Now they will go up to somewhere there, right down by your side. A good rotation. I'm trying to take it easy because I don't want to get no paint rub, obviously. So you can also lower the shoulder, push the shoulder right up like such, and the body is a really soft squidgy rubber, as you can see, and then the frame underneath feels pretty awesome, to be honest. Now I will say another thing I like, and don't be alarmed by this, the arms are just on ball joints. So as you see, that's the hinge, and the hinge does feel really smooth and really hard wearing. So I like this, and the reason I like that is because sometimes figures come with really complicated shoulder sections on the inside, and you feel like if I break that, there's no way I can redo it. This is pretty much unbreakable because it is just an arm peg, so I do like that about it. So I can just pop that back really easily. So that is what you might think that's a minus point, but it's not. It's actually a plus, because it shows me the figure's built well and they've thought about the lesser risks, so I do like that about it. Now the arm movement, if I turn it and we look at this, you've obviously got a bend at the elbow, which will go right up to there, nice and tight, and then you could get his hands to his face like so. Just get a better shot for you. You can get his hands to his face like so, so you could get him guarding himself. Also, another thing I like about the arm, if I take it to that degree, it will turn in on itself, so it will bend like so. It will also turn out on itself like so. No ratchet effect, so you don't feel like you're cracking something every time you move the arm. Also, a little note, if you do keep it in a arm bent position for a length of time, which I did because I had it posed in a boxing stance, when you pull the arm back down, you might find a slight crease, or even maybe a little bit of residue in there. Now, it came from Storm Collectables via Anthony that is normal. So all you would need to do, just rub it with your thumb and it comes off, and that is the case. And also, any cracking does pop out really soon after you put the arm straight again. So again, I don't think there's any worries there. Another strong point that I really like, on this figure, it's got a ab crunch. Now I like this because when you crunch it, it pushes the muscle groups together, so you get like a tension through his stomach, which I really like. And also obviously, because there's an ab crunch, there's a reverse ab crunch, which again now pulls the muscle groups apart, so it gets like a more upright look, and it does, like I said, pull the rubber up, and it does make it look like he's actually flexing and relaxing his abs. So I do like that about it. There's also dip left and right. Now this is harder to do, but it does have it, as you can see. Again, because of the rubberized muscle groups, it does tends the oblique, so down here, and the other side if you were to dip it that side. Again, really nice. Awesome idea on a boxing figure, because it keeps the poses really natural looking. The hands are just a ball joint peg inside the glove, and then you see you pull the glove tight and tie it, so you've got rotation, and you can swivel and dip the gloves again to make them look really accurate. And I've spoke about the armature inside the glove, so it makes a nice tense fist, so I do like that as well. In the waist we have rotation, and a really good rotation. Again, be careful, you don't want to get excessive paint rub. Really nice. Then if I just pull his arms out the waist slightly, the legs articulate really, really well, so they will go anywhere. Pretty much just on a ball joint on the hip. Everything is smooth, everything is nice. The legs, now this is the tightest joint in the knee, so if I show you, it will bend really, really tight up, but it's really, really stiff. Now, one of the nitpicks, when his leg is folded, you get a look kind of like that. So it looks like he's got elephantitis in his knee, which is not a good look. But it would never really move his leg into a position like that anyway. So what you would want to do is get him in a more natural bend, so I'm talking there, which again pulls the rubber back out from bunching up there and would give it a more natural looking leg stance. The feet obviously are on ball joints inside the ankle, and they do move nicely also. Right, so any nitpicks you might think. Obviously, what I've just shown you with the knee, when it's bent, it does ruck up at the sides. Now, I don't see there's a way that they can go around that, because you've got a bunch up of the rubber on the leg. So that might be a little nitpick. Also, sometimes certain poses, so say I'm doing a, see that arm's popped now. Also, I'm doing a pose. Sometimes if I show you in there, the cutaway sort of at the upper body leaves gaps in the arms. You'll all know about those if you've got the Oak. You see it there and there. So when you're posing, really think about posing it so you don't see the hole that the shoulder's coming from. So there is that, like sometimes there, you see. So when you do your pose, make sure you're filling in the holes to make it look a little less unsightly. So I think that pretty much covers the articulation. Now, I've got to say, for a body that looks as good as it does and moves as well as it does, everything's really smooth, everything's really nice, I've got to say it really is a work of art. And I will also say the thing that I like about it more than anything else is, you think of Hot Toys figures such as an Arkham Batman, a DX12 Batman, I don't know, maybe even Thor with his hammer out, whatever. You put him in a position like that, and every time you let go of it, the frame's been pushed away by the rubber. Not a fucking millimetre on this figure does it move. When you put it in a position that you like, regardless how the arms are, as soon as you take your hand off it, it's stuck in that position. So however they've designed the frame inside to sort of stop the rubber pulling it about is genius. So massive credit to Storm Collectables on that. A boxing figure needs to be exactly as this is, and that is why I've given the body and the articulation on this figure a 5 out of 5. Moving on to the extras and accessories. I'm going to try and show everything, make it clear what your version will bring. So, first off, we'll start with the speedball. You see, it has a wooden top, the Everlast speedball on a swivel hinge, so you can see, it will go anyway. The pole coming down to the wooden gym floor. Really nice touch. I suppose the downside is you can only put the speedball in one place. There's only one hole drilled, and also there's no way to connect any crutch grab stand to hold the figure. So you can stand it on that, but it's at your own risk. So there is that. Obviously the gym gear. So I'm talking about the hooded top, the fleece jogger bottoms, the head guard, the groin protector, and then you have some wrapped hands, obviously a set of fists, and then a spread set. So I'm using the opposite ones on the figure right now. The bare feet with the pegs, the sculpted boot, the sculpted gloves, the real gloves on this version, and you also get the stand with a name plaque on the front. which obviously is bigger than an Hot Toy stand, and it does display well. That is the stand I use more often than not. The angry face, which is a beauty like I've shown earlier on, and is the key extra for me. The extra that leaves a lot to be desired is the belt. Very, very cheap looking. It does feel like a leather-like with pieces of metal on it. It's just not licensed, and it just looks like a cheap watch strap, really. So if there's custom belts out there who can do the WBC, WBA and IBF belt, I would appreciate a set. So yeah, the belt's a bit of a no-no, but the rest of the stuff is really good. I will say as well, I added the towel with a split down the front, which he does the ring walk in. Although it's not really to good scale, I wish Storm would have added the towel, because it is sort of another signature thing for Mike Tyson. Always walked to the ring with like a split towel, never wore a robe, so I think that would have been a nice touch. But that is the only thing I can think of that they missed. Like I say, I'm glad I got the special edition because of the real boots and the real gloves, the real protective gear. But if I'd have got the standard one, I would have still been really happy as well. The Speedball is a nice touch, but I don't know if I'd be displaying it like that unless I had a second version. But again, it is something there, so it sort of ticks another box. I'm struggling for score. This is a category I'm struggling with most on the score, because whether it had brought all this or not, I would have still wanted this figure. So some of them are necessities, some of them aren't. I wish the belt were better, like I said. The head sculpts are awesome. All I would have really needed would have been the second head sculpt, a good stand, the real gloves and the real boots, I suppose. But I'm still going to be happy to say, for your money you did get quite a lot on the special version, so I'm going to give the extras a 4 out of 5. Let's just give a Speedball one last flick. There you go. Right, rolling on to the value. So I'll give you the score on that, and then we'll sum it up, give you the total score. Just show you the pose first. Got him celebrating, just won. Got the belt over the shoulder, just in a triumphant position, quite nice. Right, on the value. Like I said, I pre-ordered this figure about a year ago when it was first showed. I was lucky to get one of the first 300, so I knew I would get in it early. I knew as soon as it came out it'd be coming to my door, because it was Anthony who picked it me up, and I knew he'd be able to go into the store in Hong Kong, pick it up, take the pre-order in and send it to me. I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was a figure I knew from the start I wanted, and when I got it, it sort of, every stage of it that they showed it, it was just constantly meeting my expectations. When I received it, that was the case as well. It were as good as I wanted it to be. In some ways better than I thought it would be. The articulation is definitely better than I thought it was going to be. The head sculpts in hands are unbelievable. I would say, I hope this figure does get picked up, and not even just the special edition. I hope people do start going for licenses like this. I think most people would know and recognise a Mike Tyson. I know it's not going to be for everybody, because not everybody's a boxing fan. But I was saying for a long time that once I'd reviewed this figure, it would be my last. Simply because I saw the way that Hot Toys in particular were going. They're paying a lot for these massive licenses, so I'm thinking Star Wars, I'm thinking Avengers, everything Marvel, then you throw some Batman in, some Terminator, some Predators. And it's a long time since we got a figure outside of that. I know there's going to be exceptions to the rules, like your John Matrix and your Robocop and this, that and other. But all in all, I'm saying that Hot Toys have gone down a very mass market path. This, for me, is more a custom figure than it is a mass-produced figure. And by that I think, if you look at the figures that like a Rain Man would produce or I Mini-Me would produce, they go for more niche figures. Not figures that everybody would want, but the people who want them really, really want them. Now that's how it were with this for me. And I know some of them people would want this as well. So it sort of ticks two boxes. Value-wise, to have got the set I've got for an Hot Toys price, I'm buzzing. Now, I don't want to say the exact price, because I get a feeling Anthony probably picked a couple of these up, and I don't want to say the price I paid, because that might be more or less than what others have paid, and I just don't want to start an argument in community, especially when that community are all people who know each other and also know Anthony. So I know what I paid, and I'm very happy with it. Like I said, I could just say it's Hot Toy prices. Now, people knew I'd got this figure coming. and I was actually offered $1,000 for this before I'd even received it. I don't even think I'd sell it for that, because I think to myself, I've got the best version out there, and I think this figure is always going to jump up. And the reason I say that is Storm Collectables have actually released 2 Mike Tysons before. Now, either one of them versions can't lace this fucker's gloves, so, and they still go for good money. So I think this is going to be one of them figures in the cabinet that people will not only want to buy, but I think people will watch for any updates to see if I ever sell it. Now, would I? I don't know. $1,000 obviously is very tempting, but I think to myself, if I sell it, where am I going to get another one from? So that is my thoughts. On the value, I'm going to give it a 5 because I didn't pay a massive amount for it. It does bring a lot, and I'm lucky to have got one of the 300 special editions, so I'm buzzing about that. Going straight onto the overall score, that's giving it a 29 out of a possible 30. Now, I wanted to test my bias in this review to see if I were, and I clearly am, because this figure is always going to score well just because of the source material and the character that it is, and the fact that I've been waiting for it so long. Over time, that novelty might fade, and I might look at it and think, well, it bores me because of this, and I don't really like that on it. I don't know. The body might fade, the articulation might fuck up, the paint might rub, and then I might hate the figure. I don't know. But at the moment I've reviewed it, I've called it as I've seen it. So I have given it a 29 out of a possible 30. Please comment below if you don't agree with any of them scores and say your points why, but that's how I see it. And obviously I do want some feedback, and if we can get a good conversation going in these comment sections, then I am willing to join in. It's just hard to join in the comment sections where all you're getting is pats on the back and nothing really to feed off. So please comment, tell me if you've enjoyed this review, tell me what your thoughts are on the figure. But for now, this is Clipper King, and I'm out of here.